Mm. Hello everyone, welcome to the Gobeshona monthly webinar. My name is Fatin Fateh. I am the program assistant in Gobeshona program of International Center for Climate Change and Development. Thank you all for joining us today for the Gobeshona monthly webinar in the month of June. The theme for this month's webinar is deltas, and I am delighted to introduce our esteemed speaker, David Dilrosun, currently pursuing his master's in environmental science in Wageningen University in the Netherlands. He's also a visiting researcher at the International Center for Climate Change and Development. David will be presenting today's webinar titled Dynamic Delta and e-learning module exploring Bangladesh's sustainable future. Without further ado, let us welcome David to enlighten us with this insightful presentation. Over to you, David.
Right. Okay. I think that Fatin did an excellent job introducing me, so I won't just devote too much information, too much time to it, because Fatin, my co-host, did an excellent job. Okay, where did my work? There it is. Oh yeah, this is me. Well, as my colleague here said, the name is David. I'm a student of environmental sciences in Wageningen University in the Netherlands, and right now I intern at ICAT. Where I work on the Bangladesh Delta Plan. More specifically, I work on an e-learning module about the Bangladesh Delta Plan, and the process of which I will discuss with you all today. And this is very briefly what I'm going to talk about. First, I'm going to move into the rationale. Why am I doing this? Then I will briefly share outline my methodology, the how. Then I will talk about the content, and I will talk about the project continuation. Let's go on, shall we? Right, so why do we want to do an e-learning module about the Bangladesh Delta Plan? If you may be familiar with this plan, the Bangladesh Delta Plan is basically the country's vision to the future. But not many people know about it, which is regrettable because the BDP is a long-term vision of how the government sees the country develop. It touches upon many aspects, but not many professionals and young people are familiar with it. And this is where I come into play, because I'm designing a training module that will disseminate knowledge about the Delta Plan. It focuses on accessibility and to incentivize students rather than to disseminate technical knowledge. This plan is a joint venture between the International Center for Climate Change and Development, United International University, Wageningen University and Research, and Climate Adaptation Center in the Netherlands. Eventually, we're going to disseminate it through the Delta program, and the main target group will be young professionals as well as master students in the future. In the future, we aim to incorporate this e-learning module in the mainstream curriculum for every master program in Bangladesh, so that we reach many people and hopefully incentivize a few of them to work on the Delta Plan in their professional careers. The main overlying goal of this plan is to provide young people a perspective. There are good things happening in this country. There is a plan, and people should know about it. Let's briefly discuss methodology. The main methodological underpinning which I use is called Anderson's teaching taxonomy. The educators in the audience will be familiar with it. It basically describes how people learn things on several abstraction levels, on several learning methods, etc. Then, using this taxonomy, I designed learning goals, which I will share with you shortly. I designed assignments, and I developed a theory. I'm going to do this I did this in several rounds, as to speak. The first version of this e-learning module is developed by me. Then I incorporated some feedback from ICAT and from Wageningen University, which was the second version, which I pitched in a co-creation workshop involving many local talents and professors from this country, so that together we could develop more robust material. Right now, I am working on incorporating their feedback in my work, which brings us to version 4. This version I will test by incorporating feedback from climate change and development students, as well as hopefully students at United International University. After this, when I have developed their insights and incorporated their insights into this course, then my work is practically done. So let's move over to the module content, shall we? Because the idea is right now to develop two versions of the course. A short version, which is just 4 blocks, it's mainly multiple choice questions, and it takes students a few hours to do this thing. It will be completely online. And this resembles the classical massive open online course format. There will also be a hypothetical proposed longer version which comprises more learning blocks. It actually has a very complex assignment because it requires a more grounded understanding of the material. Consequently, it takes longer. The short version compares the following learning blocks. The first one is rather elementary. What is the Bangladesh Delta Plan and why is it important? It talks about the sectors involved and how the BDP is influenced by external access. It reflects the blocks to do so. And it also discusses where students can learn more about the Bangladesh Delta Plan if they're interested in that kind of thing. The long version has some similar elements, but it also incorporates some theory as well as a complicated assignments, sorry, that's singular. Here are the learning goals I designed. The first learning goal is that students assess what the Bangladesh Delta Plan is. What is its goals? What is its importance? And why is it new? Then when we move on, the students should be able to describe the opportunities and challenges which should help shape this plan, as well as they should be able to describe the actors involved. For the longer the final short course learning goal is where students can students should be able to share where they can learn more about the Bangladesh Delta Plan. The longer version involves some theory, some concepts, and students should be able to contribute to a real BDP project meaningfully. This is the first learning block. What is the Bangladesh Delta Plan and why is it important? It talks about the relevance, it talks about the mission, it talks about the vision. Some goals, because the BDP has specific goals, it has overarching goals. It shares information about the hydrological zones, because that's how the BDP is structured. It divides the country in several zones. It also uses several hotspots, which are incredibly important towards understanding the BDP, and it's based upon two scenarios. The business as usual scenarios and the Bangladesh Delta Plan scenario. This is essential because the rationale for implementing the BDP rests on these scenarios. This will be assessed by employing smart, randomized, multiple choice questions. These questions will shift in order, so it's not as easy to cheat for students, and it tells you what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong, so you actually learn things from it. The second block involves the sectors involved in the Bangladesh Delta Plan 2100. There are multiple sectors. For example, water. There's groundwater strategies. There's irrigation strategies. There's biodiversity is included. The environment is included. There's long entries about agriculture and about land management. This part of the MOOC will briefly discuss some sectoral views, some sectoral strategies, and this will again be assessed by smart multiple choice questions. This is continued in block number 3 with the remaining sectors, which are inland water transport, renewable energy, governance, and opportunities, and governance. This block specifically will also discuss the external factors being opportunities and challenges. Which external factors influence it and how? That's important. Students should know this. It will again be assessed by randomized multiple choice questions. This is only for the longer version. Some theoretical elements of the Bangladesh Delta Plan should be provided, because if you actually want to understand this plan, then you also need to have some elements of some level of understanding of the building blocks involved. This includes adaptive delta management, which is the main theoretical framework underpinning the plan. Some scenario planning, something about climate information services, and this will again be assessed by smart multiple choice questions. This block is still under construction. It may be left out because as of right now, I'm not happy with the shape it is taking, but maybe we should include it. This is an ongoing project after all. I'm not done yet. This is learning block number 5. This is where it actually gets interesting. It's also mainly for the longer version of the Bangladesh Delta Plan, and it involves that students will actually do things with the Bangladesh Delta Plan in a group work format. Oh, that is, I am screen sharing. Why is that not working? Okay. It is doing magic. Why is it doing magic? How bloody important, how annoying. Okay, that is absolutely wretched. But okay, let's continue, shall we? I think I got it working again. Um, I have apparently the screen share stopped. I don't precisely know when, but let's get on with it, shall we? Everyone's time is valuable. I'm in the process of designing an in-depth assignment which infers how students can implement a real BDP project, as in they can aid the implementation of a real BDP project. We design together with the co-creation workshop participants. I designed a matrix which puts hydrological zone on one axis and current projects on another axis. So this matrix will be flash filled out with projects which are currently happening in the BDP. And this project, if you click on it, it will show an introductory video with which interviews an expert that works on the problem and says, okay, this is the problem we're working on. This is what we're trying to do to solve it. And then we ask we ask them to form groups, or we put them in groups, still run a work in process here. And then we ask them to do some kind of complicated assignment with it. It will depend on their background, because not everyone can write a policy brief. If I ask an engineering student to write a proposed act, they will cry. If I ask an art student to provide a technological solution, that's not going to work. So ideally, we design groups so that together students can learn from each other, and they have to work on a complicated concept which actually fits, because, well, the students should know something when they finish this course. This assignment is why the longer version of the plan for now is will be maybe in a blended learning format, because this works better if students physically go somewhere to UIU premises and pitch plans they made to each other. Then they learn from each other, that's interactive, and they can take ownership of their work, which means they actually retain some knowledge. Oh, it works again, lovely. The final learning block contains information about where students can learn more. It provides information about the other Bangladesh government plans, because the BDP is one plan, and it's this very long plan. It's very abstract, and furthermore, it interlinks several other plans, such as the 5-year plan, the Mujib Climate Prosperity Plan, the Adaptation Strategy, the Vision. But I'm a foreigner, and when I looked at this, I got lost very quickly, because they kind of work on the same thing, but where is the overlap, where are the differences? And if students are to learn things about this, if they are to understand it, then they should know about the other plans and how they relate. This block should also contain information about what external entities, as in non-governmental, think tanks, universities, etc., are working on. For example, ICAT or IUB, or UIU, or the Global Adaptation Center. This list will be expanded on continuously because it's long, but it will not be assessed, because getting students to memorize random facts about a policy document is a very good way to make sure they don't learn anything. My work will end relatively soon, as in my visa will end eventually. It ends in July. I'm in the final stages of my work, but the project doesn't end here. What I did is the groundwork for a much bigger project, because right now ICAD and United States National University are together working on a project proposal so that they can disseminate this project I'm working on, this module, with Dutch government funds. I think this is most of my presentation. If you've got any questions, you can ask them now, of course, which my moderator will hopefully assist me with. And furthermore, my email address and my WhatsApp number are on the screen, so you can also just text or email me. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you so much, David, for the presentation. As the Bangladesh Delta Plan is not just a plan, it's a vision for the resilient and sustainable future for Bangladesh. This plan is instrumental in navigating climate change, water management, and sustainable development challenge. But we face a significant challenge while implementing them. So now that your module is quite promising, and hopefully it will help in the development. And for everyone, I want to ask everyone to, if anyone have any question, please add it in the chat box. David will be happy to answer them.
I don't bite, you can ask questions.
So if no one have any questions, then I guess we will end the session here. And before ending the session or webinar, let's have a screenshot. So kindly, I'd like to ask everyone to uh, turn on their videos so we can have a screenshot. And David, David, can you please stop sharing the video? Sorry, your presentation. Thank you, David, for the insightful presentation. And thank you everyone for joining the webinar today. And hopefully that we will look forward to like seeing you all in the next webinar in next month.